Review of operations with integers. An integer is a whole number that can be positive, negative, or zero. So, for example, any number without a decimal, it doesn't matter how big or small that number is. Any number with the negative or positive sign. So, for example, 5 or -5, 8, 0, 1062, 1082, 2000, all the numbers are example of integers. Not integers are the numbers that are in fraction, so which is 1 over 2, 0.7, and 1.792. Absolute value. The absolute value of an integer is the distance between the number and 0 on a number line. The absolute value of A is written as, if you see the two parallel lines, and inside there is a number, we call this number as an absolute value. Absolute value, since it's a distance, so distance means that if you go from your house to school or your school to house, the distance will be there. So there will be a distance of some type. So distance cannot be negative. So you will cover the distance whether you go from school to house or house to school. So for example, if you have -4, absolute value of -4 is 4. And absolute value of 4 is also 4. Similarly, you're going to answer 1, 2, and 3. So the answer for 1 would be 2. Answer for 2 would be 3. And answer for 3 would be 7. Because wherever the value is either negative or positive, the result of an absolute value stays positive. Now let's look at the adding integer with same sign. Add the absolute value of the integer, then use the common sign. So let's look at example number 1 here. Find -2 plus -4 using the number line. So when you start from -2 right here and you're adding -4, whenever you're adding negative number, you go on the left side, you go on this side here, and this side is the left side and this side is right side. Whenever you add negative number, you go on the left side, so you go -4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and you end up at -6. So it means that -2 plus -4 will give you answer as -6. Now look at the number 4, 5, and 6. So 7 plus 13, you have done this many times. This is adding simple positive integers. So 13 plus 7 or 7 plus 13 will give you answer as 20. And when you're doing with -8 plus -5, whenever you see two negatives, and you're adding them, you add them as normal, but you need to keep the negative sign. So 8 plus 5 is 13, but you since have a negative for both of them, so you keep the negative sign. Now let's look at number 6. Number 6, -20 plus -15. It means that when you see two negatives, so it's the same example as number 5. You're adding them, but you're keeping the negative sign. So we just add them normally. 20 plus 15. 20 plus 15 is 35. And you keep the negative sign. You can also think this problem as a money related problem. So someone took a $20 from you. So there is a loss of $20 in your account, and then again that person took $15 from you. So the total loss or total negative in your account is -35. So you gave someone $20 first and then $15 again, $15 again. Then the loss you have in your account is negative $35. Now let's look at adding integers with different sign. Subtract the lesser absolute value from the greater value. Then use the sign of integer with greater absolute value. So the sign of the result that you're going to carry is the one that is with the greater value. So for example, we're gonna subtract the lesser from the greater. So 10 minus 5, that's 5. And the sign here would be the greater number. So the greater number here is 10. And the sign of 10 is negative. So you keep the sign of a greater number. Now just let's look at number 8 here. So you subtract the absolute value. Absolute value of negative 3 is 3. So you subtract the absolute value from the greater value. So 7 minus 3 would be 4. And you keep the sign of the greater value. So the greater value here is 7. So the greater value have a sign positive. So it means this is going to be a positive 4. And whenever you have a positive number, you don't have to actually write the sign in front of the number. And now number 9. If you notice, this is the same number, 12 and 12, but they are different in sign. So same number different in sign will always give you 0 as a result. You're subtracting and adding the same number. So the result is 0. Now let's look at number 10 here. Number 10 is 11 minus 2. So simple as that, you're just subtracting 2 from 11. So 11 minus 2 would be 9. And for number 11 is 9 plus negative 10. So you're subtracting the lesser absolute value, which is 9, from the greater value, which is 10. So subtract 9 from 10, that give you 1. And then you're going to keep the sign of integer with greater value. Sign of greater value is negative because greater value is 10, and the sign of 10 is negative. So negative 1 will be your answer. Again, number 12 is the same as number 9. Adding and subtracting the same number. When you take some money from someone and return it back, your balance is 0. So for example, if I take $10 from my mom and give it back, then result will be 0 in my account. I don't have any money that I owe.